Hello everybody, today I'll be showing you an Int Ranger guide for PVE and PvP, and it's really good, so let's go. Okay, so now I'll show you how to become a ranger. So we're at Taximan Dave right now in Port Fidelia, and from Taximan Dave you're just going to want to turn right, and then go into this canyon just to get across the water. And then this mountain right here, you're going to climb the mountain all the way up to that blue exclamation point. It's a pretty easy climb, if you're like a hunter, because you'll just have double jump, and so that's really nice. And then once you get to the top of the mountain, you're gonna see this guy named Peregrine. Talk to him, and then you'll just see he'll just ask you like, "Would you like to become a ranger?" And just say yes. And yeah, that's it. Now let's go over stats and abilities. Okay, so stats and abilities are pretty simple. All you really need is 90 dexterity, and then put the rest into intelligence. So it's pretty easy, and try and get at least 150 intelligence or more, because that's the best way to do it. And then for skills, hunter skills, just double jump and shunpo are really the only notable ones. Double jump and shunpo both just for mobility. And these ones don't really matter, just do whatever you want with those two. And then for ranger skills, it's also really simple, just multi-arrows, 2 out of 2, spell slinger stance or ranger stance if you don't have enough int yet, 10 out of 10. And then these two abilities, hail of arrows and ricochet, don't really matter, just I recommend getting hail of arrows over ricochet just for some extra DPS. And spell slinger stance, this is what it looks like. It's just the exploding arrows that you probably came here for. And also multi-arrows helps a lot. And then for the gear, what you want is Incisor, preferably keen with a little bit of critical strike chance, like at least 5%, plus 5%. And the reason I like Incisor is because it has this passive effect called Overbite, which is gaining 25% critical strike damage or 15% in your offhand, it's usually going to be in your offhand critical strike damage. And since this is mainly focused on critical strikes, it's really good. And then for bows, I like to use a Forgotten Bow. Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry, I forgot to say alternatives for Incisor. You could use Forgotten Dagger or Abyssal Dagger, but Incisor is the best way to go. And then for the bow, Forgotten Bow is the best option. It's because of Eldritch, I don't know how to say it, whatever shots. Critical hits deal 10% to 60% extra damage based on the target's missing health. Max achieved at 20% health remaining. The reason this is good is because critical hits deal 10 to 60% extra damage, which is really nice. And I guess once they have like the least amount of health, it'll do more damage. So the less health, the more damage, which is really good. Alternatives, basically just Abyssal Bow, and maybe like Frozen Root Bow for Cryo Cascades, but just use Forgotten Bow, it's the best option. Now, Sunken Crown, for headgear, the reason that I'm using this is because of Meditative. That's also kind of a tongue twister. And it's good because you recover mana over time, like faster. And you also get a lot of intelligence, and I'll show you it by using Spellslinger Stance. So it's going to be taking away intelligence, but this just recovers it all. And you can even look at the numbers. It's like always the same number every time it recovers, and so you can just shoot and shoot basically forever until you run out of arrows. So that's good. And then for armor, I use a Vampiric Vest, and that's because Vampiric Aura gaining 25% critical strike damage. That's really good. And you can also get a lot of dexterity from it. Well, not really, you just have to ancient dexterity scroll it. So ancient dexterity scroll it, and that's really it. I don't think there's many alternatives. Maybe like Grizzly Vest, I guess. But yeah, that's really the only alternative I can think of. Or ranging gear. Then for boots, Dweller Boots, these are like the only viable option because 12 dexterity, what's not to like about that? It's 12. And it's really easy to get. You can just like kill the captain, the pirate captain, or buy it in the Turtles Mall shop for like 10 doubloons. so now we have the gear out of the way. Now let's move on to the DPS. Okay, so the DPS is pretty straightforward. All you really have to do is just point at your target. Actually, you don't, because you can use this thing called auto aim, and it just automatically aims. Like, I could be aiming over here, it's gonna target the dummy, and so that's really nice. And now, wow, 12,000 DPS, that's pretty good. So now let's give a demonstration of the DPS, like, in a little bit of a combo, and I will be using Hail of Arrows, so let's do it. And also, these guys never lose health, really, so technically the DPS would be even better if you were actually fighting like a boss and it was losing its health. 12,000 DPS, yeah, really good, and it also did it on 2 dummies, and this one still took some damage. So it's really good for AoE and a lot of DPS, and you can kind of just be brain dead and AFK with auto aim. You could be aiming over here. Actually, I think it has to be in your camera view. Yeah, it has to be in your camera view. But you can just auto aim and like AFK with something holding down your mouse or whatever. So yeah, that's really it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and make sure to like and subscribe. Goodbye.